After this YouTuber plunged into a Tennessee river, he cracked open a 20-year-old cold case. As the sun glints off the glassy surface of Calfkiller River in Tennessee, YouTuber Jeremy Beau Sides navigates his boat between the tree-lined banks. Suddenly, he spots something unusual on the sonar screen. With the camera rolling, he dives beneath the surface, searching for clues in a decades-old cold case. More than 20 years ago, teenagers Erin and Jeremy Bechtel vanished without a trace. And ever since, local law enforcement have been trying to get to the bottom of their disappearance. Did they lose their lives as the result of a tragic accident? Or were they the victims of foul play? Many years later, the case came to the attention of both sides, a man on a mission to bring closure to the families of missing people. And after a few false starts, he finally tracked down something of interest. Now, video footage of his incredible discovery has been released, as this heartbreaking mystery finally comes to a close. A qualified scuba diver, Georgia-born Beau Sides launched his YouTube channel, Exploring with Nug, back in October 2016. According to his profile on the video-sharing platform, he spends his time submerged in rivers and lakes, hunting down lost and stolen property. And, at times, he also helps to solve cold missing person cases. And they don't come much colder than that of Foster and Bechtel, who disappeared on the night of April 3, 2000. Having attended a party outside of their hometown of Sparta, Tennessee, they climbed into a black Pontiac Grand Prix and were never seen again. So what happened to the teenage friends? It was the beginning of a puzzle that would take 2 decades to solve. According to reports, the two teenagers had been good friends since childhood, and there were even rumors of a romantic relationship. At 18 years old, Foster was described as a beautiful girl with a bubbly laugh. Bechtel, meanwhile, was around 8 months younger, a sportsman loved by his friends. When the pair did not return home on the night of April 3, Foster's parents weren't overly concerned at first. After all, reports claim she had mentioned leaving home in the past. But as the hours ticked by with no word from their daughter, they began to grow more concerned. Eventually, both Foster and Bechtel were reported missing. According to the podcast Where Are They?, law enforcement initially treated the pair as teenage runaways. But when they failed to collect their paychecks from work, this story began to seem less likely. As time passed, though, investigators grew no closer to solving the disappearance. In a small community such as Sparta, rumors are, of course, quick to spread. And it didn't take long before people began to speculate on what had happened to Foster and Bechtel. According to one theory, they had run away to start a new life together in Florida. But there was another, much darker, story doing the rounds as well. Most of this speculation, it seems, centered around one of Foster's ex-boyfriends. On true crime message boards, posts appeared accusing the young man, Gareth, of having a dark and destructive past. Moreover, they also claimed that he was involved in the shady world of drugs and had been admitted to a rehabilitation facility in Florida. Did Gareth, a lover scorned, murder Foster and Bechtel in a crime of passion? While some certainly seem to think so, there has been no evidence to support these claims. And as the years passed with no concrete leads, the case went cold. By the time that Steve Page, now the sheriff of White County, Tennessee, found himself on board, there was little in the way of coherent theories. Eventually, Page decided to go back to the drawing board. And that's when he discovered a single-sided report filed by Foster's parents back when the pair first went missing. Speaking to local station News Channel 5 in February 2022, he said, "It would have been the very first document to the case." Amazingly, this report revealed that there had been a crucial mistake in the investigation. Previously, officers had assumed that Foster and Bechtel disappeared while on their way home from a friend's party held near a lake to the northwest of Sparta. But in reality, they were on the opposite side of town. According to News Channel 5, the pair had traveled back to Sparta to collect Foster's brother and were returning to the party when disaster struck. In other words, investigators had been hunting for clues in the wrong place. Armed with this information, Page honed in on Highway 84, a stretch of road that runs alongside Calfkiller River to the north of the town. And Page wasn't the only person still interested in Foster and Bechtel's case. In 2021, Beau Sides began investigating the infamous disappearance. Like many others, he suspected that the pair may have crashed their car into one of White County's lakes or rivers that fateful night. With his particular talents, he reasoned, he was just the man to take a closer look. At first, Beau Sides focused his search on the lake near where the party was held. And on November 11, 2021, he uploaded a video to his YouTube channel. In it, he can be seen using sonar to scan beneath the surface. And just a few minutes in, he can barely contain his excitement as an object resembling a car appears on the screen. Later in the video, Beau Sides dives down to the object only to have his suspicions confirmed. But any hope that he might have found the missing teenagers was short-lived. After wiping debris off the surface of the submerged vehicle, he realized that the paintwork was white, unlike the black finish of Foster's car. "Not the car we were looking for," Beau Sides says to the camera. "That one's been down there for a lot longer than 20 years. Dutifully, he manages to retrieve the taillight from the vehicle and invites his viewers to conduct their own investigations. Unfortunately, though, he is no closer to uncovering Foster and Bechtel's fate. Weeks later, reports claim Page was attending a service at a local church when he got into a conversation with one of Foster's relatives. Soon, talk turned to the case, and the family member informed the sheriff of Beau Sides' efforts, sending him a link to the Exploring with Nug channel. On watching the video, Page decided to reach out to Beau Sides with his own theory about Foster and Bechtel's disappearance. That they had vanished from Highway 84. As it happens, the YouTuber was already planning a second expedition in search of the missing vehicle, and he added this new location to his list. Fast forward to December 4, and another video appeared on Beau Sides' channel. This time, he can be seen exploring 3 bodies of water around Sparta, armed with his trusty sonar device. First, he visits a spot known as Cane Hollow, on the shores of Center Hill Lake, some 15 miles northwest of the town. "It's a place that I've heard that kids used to go and hang out and camp out and party and have campfires," Beau Sides explains to the camera. "And this was a place that Erin and Jeremy would have frequented back in 2000. Might the pair have returned to this spot the night they disappeared only to wind up crashing into the dark waters of the lake?" At first, it seems as if Beau Sides is in luck as his sonar device picks up the unmistakable outline of a car. But unfortunately, it turns out to be a Mercedes that law enforcement already knows about, and the mystery remains unsolved. Later, the YouTuber heads south to a place called 3 Island Road, where a boat ramp juts into a tributary of the lake. But Beau Sides is out of luck there as well. With nothing appearing on his sonar screen, he packs up and heads to the third location, Calfkiller River, which runs alongside Highway 84. By his own admission, it's his last chance to crack the case and find out what happened to Foster and Bechtel the night that they disappeared. In aerial footage of the location, a guardrail can be seen running between the river and the highway, effectively preventing any out-of-control vehicles from entering the water. But, Beau Sides reasons, it may not have been there back in 2000. When he sets up his equipment and heads out once more, he remains hopeful that the puzzle can be solved. At first, though, it seems as if Beau Sides' confidence might be misplaced. Then, an object appears on the screen that makes him exclaim out loud, "Whoa." He continues, "That's 100% a car. Right in front of my face." Clearly stunned, he turns the boat around to take another look. Scanning the object again, Beau Sides notes that it's sitting in some 13 feet of water and temperatures of around 46 degrees Fahrenheit. And while such conditions might put a lot of divers off, he is clearly prepared to plunge into the chilly waters. First, though, he studies the scan and is excited by what he finds. "You can almost tell the shape of it," Beau Sides continues. "And I'm not gonna lie, man, that looks like I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say what kind of car it looks like because I know what I want it to be. But it's got a short trunk and it's got a long nose. In other words, it appears to be a perfect match for Foster's missing Pontiac Grand Prix. If that's Erin and Jeremy's car, then that's going to be super huge," Beau Sides tells the camera. "That's a 20-year-old cold case that we just solved. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves." Determined to get to the bottom of things, he marks the spot with a buoy and heads back to his truck, ready to return with his diving equipment. The next day dawns crisp and clear as Beau Sides heads out in his boat once more. Using live scanning equipment, he takes another peek at the submerged vehicle. And even though waves interfere with the picture, he eventually locates it, dropping a powerful magnet attached to a rope to mark the position. "I'm really excited about this," Beau Sides tells the camera. "Nervous too. I mean, it's just a lot of mixed emotions. I think this is them, but I don't know for sure." As he prepares to dive beneath the surface, the tension is palpable. Is a case that has baffled law enforcement for decades about to be solved? Diving down into the freezing waters, Beau Sides follows the red rope deeper and deeper. And eventually, his target comes into view. A car resting right way up on the riverbed. Speaking through his respirator, he notes that the hood of the vehicle is missing and the windows remain in a closed position. But is it the right vehicle? Swimming closer, Beau Sides brushes away some of the greenery that is accumulated on the surface, revealing one word. Pontiac. And that's not all. As he continues to clear the area, he uncovers a license plate reading 473 EJR, the registration of Foster's missing car. "It's them," Beau Sides cries triumphantly, his search finally at an end. Taking the plate with him, he returns to the surface, telling the camera, "They're coming home. I'm lost for words. I'm so glad I could find them. I'm so sad that that's where they ended up. I can't believe it's been over 20 years they've been sitting there waiting for someone to find them, and I'm glad I did." It's a weird mix of emotions, Beau Sides continues. "I can't even explain it. But you know what, this isn't about me. This is about getting them home, and we're going to do that today. Let's get them out of the water. It's time." Tearfully, he places a call to Paige and reveals the incredible news. "This is Jeremy. I've been talking to you on Facebook about Erin and Jeremy Beau Sides begins. I don't have an easy way to say this, but I found them." Shocked, Paige hesitates to respond, but the YouTuber assures him that this is a genuine find. He continues, "Swear to God. I just dove the car. I got the tag. It's in the river right here in town. All the windows are up," Beau Sides informs Paige. "It looks like they went around the corner and lost control and went off into the river." The sheriff responds, "Oh my God. You know how big this is the case of a lifetime for me and you." And within days, an operation to recover the vehicle is underway. As Foster's Pontiac emerged from the river, the pair's bereaved parents were forced to confront the truth at last. Speaking to the New York Times in December 2021, Ron Bechtel, Jeremy's father, said, "It was like losing him all over again. We kind of had just a thin bit of hope that he was still alive." Meanwhile, Foster's family, who are still unable to look at photographs of their missing daughter, reacted to the news with shock. Father Cecil told News Channel 5, "I don't think I believed it, even though Beau Sides has got the license plate in his hand." Despite the tragedy, though, he was grateful to have closure at last. According to reports, human remains were also found inside the vehicle, although DNA tests will be required before a formal identification can take place. But for the families of Foster and Bechtel, grieving can finally begin. As Cecil told the news website Inside Edition in December 2021, "I'm kind of numb about it. It's been a way of life for so long. There's a sense of relief there, but it still hurts there too, but I don't know if it'll ever go away."